Apple's iPad Pro is for professionals, but only a small niche of professionals can truly use it as a daily driver. Changes boil down to the new M2 chip that's inside, making the Pro even more powerful, but you will be better off with a laptop. Apple's 6th generation iPad Pro is a simpler affair. It's almost entirely the same as last year's iPad Pro, with one key difference. Apple's new M2 processor is powerful and great to use as a tablet, but it's still far from becoming a truly versatile laptop replacement. The 6th Gen 12.9-inch iPad Pro, which Apple sent me to review last week, is near identical to the 5th Gen iPad Pro in many key aspects. It has the same design, display, cameras, speakers and battery. It's exactly the same size and weight. It even has a nano SIM slot just like last year's iPad Pro, even though Apple has gone seamless on its new iPhone 14. It comes with the same storage options ranging from 128GB all the way up to 2TB. It once again comes in the space gray and silver colors. It supports the exact same accessories and Apple hasn't launched any new ones for now. This is not an upgrade for people who want to flaunt their brand new iPad Pro. The major changes are the M2 processors and, if you really stress the term major, support for Apple Pencil Hover, the tech that makes the tablet's display sense the proximity of pencil and perform a simple task before you even touch it. Sure, you can go hunting for other differences between the old and the new Pro, but you will have to dig in deep and you will find few of them. Here are a couple that I have noticed. The new iPad Pro models now have a sign saying iPad Pro on the back. Earlier iPad Pro models merely said iPad. The antenna lines on the back appear to be a little less visible than before, especially on the space gray variant. The rear camera now supports ProRes recording up to 4K at 30 fps, and the front camera now supports a smart HDR4 for photos. Wi-Fi has been upgraded from Wi-Fi 6 to the faster Wi-Fi 6E standard. That's pretty much it for all of the basic aspects of the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, its design, display, battery life and cameras. I will point you to your last year's review of 5th generation 12.9-inch iPad Pro. It's still a stunningly beautiful device with a near perfect display that's truly a joy to use. Though due to its massive size, it works better on the table than in your lap. However, it's high time Apple changed anything about the iPad Pro's design, because 3 generations of virtually no changes is too much. And if I may offer a suggestion, maybe move the front camera to the side of the device instead of it being on the top. You will ready to video calls in portrait mode, so having the camera up top and in the center when in landscape mode makes a lot more sense. The new iPad Pro is powered by Apple's M2 chip. That chip is good enough to power Apple's MacBook Air and the 13-inch MacBook Pro, so the new iPad Pro is basically in the same league as these very capable laptops. Another key aspect is the new iPad OS 16, which launched alongside the new iPads. My job here then was to focus on how well the new iPad Pro performs in tandem with the new iPad OS 16. I am happy to report that the Pro easily handled everything I threw at it. In most cases, that meant having a bunch of browser tabs and apps such as Apple Music, Facebook and YouTube open and flipping between them all the time. I never experienced a slowdown. Fooling around in GarageBand was a joy on the 12.9-inch display, and the app performed without a hitch. I also played a few games including PUBG and Hearthstone, and the iPad Pro didn't even get very warm. It's a powerful device, but you will only reach the limits of that power in specific extremely demanding apps, and realistically very few people use such apps. When it comes to battery life, it really depends on how you use the iPad. If you put it on your table and do real work on it for 8 hours, the battery might drain before the end of your day. If you use the device occasionally and for typical tablet tasks such as hanging out on the Slack, reading books and magazines, and doom scrolling through your social media poison of choice, it will last for days. I did a mix of both, and the iPad had about 20% left at the end of the day. Beside the M2 chip, the two other improvements worth mentioning are pencil hover and support for Wi-Fi 6E. Hover is one of those magical things that Apple does that you just have to show to your friends. The iPad Pro's display sense when the tip of the Apple Pencil is about 12mm away and in certain scenarios does a little something like highlighting the item you are about to tap on or expanding the text input field you are about to touch. I am no heavy pencil user, so I can't say how useful this really is, but it's definitely a cool party trick. I wasn't able to test the Wi-Fi 6E as I lacked the proper router, but it boils down to faster Wi-Fi connectivity with lower latencies. I'm sure that there are some iPad users out there who require super fast wireless connection, but for most people it's just another one of those nice to have features. As for whether the new iPad Pro, when combined with Apple's Magic Keyboard, can fully replace your computer, to answer is probably not. If you want to give it a try, you will have to be willing to learn new things, make a lot of compromises, and it will still heavily depend on what your daily workflow looks like. To do my daily work on the iPad Pro, I had to learn some keyboard shortcuts. CMD plus W to close a tab or window was a lifesaver. Get used to using gestures on the Magic Keyboard's tiny trackpad and mess about with the setting a lot until I got to an experience that's close to what I get on the MacBook. Even then, I could never fully get that comfort that I get when working with a laptop. Apple's new Stage Manager, which is finally live for everyone with iPadOS 16, helps with multitasking, and I don't hate it. For example, I love the way I can pile up certain apps into the groups that I can fetch at will, but it still has limitations in what you can do with apps on your screen. For example, I like to have two browser instances open side by side, and on the iPad Pro, I could not precisely set the display resolution I wanted, nor could I have resized the windows to the exact size I wanted. Stage Manager was also buggy. For example, invoking it with the keyboard's trackpad, which you do by moving the cursor to the left of the display, occasionally wouldn't work. Some apps, including Facebook and Apple's own weather, would sometimes look messy when resized inside Stage Manager. Having the app windows stubbornly cling to a certain size when you need them to be just a little bit bigger or smaller is annoying. I do think it's better than both side over and split view as a multitasking tool, but it's still far from perfect.